Hey y'all, welcome to Fixin' the Garden. We're here in Georgia 8B, and y'all, spring has sprung and we are behind and need to get a lot of gardening tasks and cleanup done so that we can be ready. All of our plants are starting to emerge and we're in the middle of our big spring project, and my husband is currently working real hard at getting that completed. We're changing out our drip and we're actually changing our mulch as well. So I hope y'all will stay tuned for that. Today we're going to be doing some chores that need to be done, and one thing that I've put off and now I'm hoping it's not too late is I'm going to start growing potatoes this year. So y'all stay tuned. I'm going to put those together for y'all to see how to grow some potatoes in grow bags. I don't know if y'all have done that before, but it's my first time, and so I'm really excited to see how that turns out. As y'all know, I've talked about I am not the best at gardening with food. I kind of stick with flowers most of the time, but I'm really trying to stretch myself and try new things, and so I decided that I'm going to try to grow some potatoes this year. Also, we put down some slow release fertilizer for all of our plants. I already did the roses and the hydrangeas, mainly because they use the same kind of fertilizer. I used the Espoma rose tone to fertilize my roses and my hydrangeas, and my roses were starting to break dormancy, and so I went ahead and put down that slow release fertilizer for those. And now I'm going to go back and do everything else because y'all, at this point we have all of our pine straw pulled back except for the bed that's right behind me. We hadn't gotten to that one yet. All right, so today we're going to be using the Espoma plant tone to put down the fertilizer for everything else that we didn't get fertilized the other day. Our slow release fertilizer doesn't start putting out until the soil warms up, which for us is going to be really soon. This week our highs are in the 80s and the humidity is on, and you would think that it's a little touch of summer happening, but we're also going to take a dip here at the end of the week where we'll get close to the lower 40s. I'm hoping we won't get down into the 30s though, since things are starting to emerge already. But that's kind of one of our goals, is to make sure that we have our mulch back on these beds before the cold snap comes through. And that's kind of how our weather does this time of year. It's like a little bit of a roller coaster. You think spring is on, and so you start doing all these gardening chores, and then it takes a little bit of a dive and you have to come out and cover things to protect them, which is a real, well, it's a real pain. But you do what you have to do, and because you never know, sometimes summer or spring is here to stay, and if you don't go ahead and make those changes that need to be done, you feel like you're behind. So it's just one of those things that's difficult about gardening and these transitional seasons, especially in warmer climates, because it's not a clear cutoff. Our last frost date, I believe, is April the 1st. I can't remember the last time we made it all the way to April the 1st. Usually it's about mid-March we see our last freezing temperatures, so we go ahead and get things going. So I hope you'll follow along with me as I put down fertilizer on these beds, and then I'm going to start over here on the other side of the swing. My husband's already gotten the drip put in, and so I'm coming behind him and starting the mulch. You can see where we did a little bit here. Over here, this is our beautyberry. It's the Pearl Glam beautyberry bush. And so this is what it's going to look like. We put down just a little section to see if that's what we really wanted. This is actually just soil conditioner. We have a really hard time, again, it's weird here in our area, finding good quality soil. All we could find for mulch was the colored dyed bark mulch or a cypress mulch, which I've read doesn't break down very well. And we're really wanting to help condition our soil, since we do live in a very clay environment with our soil. And so we decided to go with the soil conditioner, which is some compost and pine bark fines. So we're hoping that'll do really well, but you'll have to stick around and see, and so will we, because we've never done this before and we don't know anybody else who has done it in our area, to see how it turns out and if we end up liking the look, or does it end up being a lot of money and cost and effort to keep it looking really great. Because of course, prior to that, we use pine straw because that's the common mulch in our area. All right, so we're going to get started. Again, we're using the Espoma plant tone. I was lucky enough that our local Ace had this for half off a couple weeks ago, and so we loaded up on plant tone and biotone because those are the two Espoma tones that we use the most. So it is kind of a do-it-all kind of plant tone, and as people have said, there's not a ton of differentiation between the different nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate. Is that it? Calcium. I don't remember which one the one is. Phosphate, yeah. So anyways, get whichever one you can get your hands on. These are smaller bags because that's all they had. And so we're just gonna start and pretty much give everything a little bit of plant tone. So this is our third bag, and this is the last bag we have. I thought we had more. So I'm gonna be a little bit more selective on where I put this at, because I wanna make sure that what really needs it is getting it, and what doesn't care is not such a big deal. I thought we had a couple more of these, so maybe I just couldn't find them in the garage. But just to give you an idea of, you know, how much you maybe would need, you can of course do all the calculations, but know that if you have we have a half acre here, and the backyard is probably a quarter, but we have a lot of garden space. So if you have a lot, you're gonna need more. So you saw me skip over quite a few plants. We have a lot of agastache, yarrow, sedum. Those things don't really love a lot of fertilizer, so I chose to skip over those since we're limited in our fertilizer, and stuck with things like phlox, salvia, veronica, what else is that? Penstemon. So I tried to give those things the fertilizer and skipped over some of the other ones, beautyberry. And so anyway, so just know that everything doesn't have to have fertilizer. I don't think it would hurt with the slow release fertilizer to give some of that to those types of plants, but since we're limited, I decided to forego it. So anyways, on to the next project for the day. All right, one last thing we're gonna do when it comes to the fertilizer is, if you don't know, the Espoma fertilizers smell really bad because they're using a lot of organic materials, and our dog is a little bit attracted to those stinky smells, unfortunately. And so one of the things that we like to do is we'll water, because I don't think we're gonna get any rain for a couple of days, so we'll go ahead and water it all in, and it helps dampen the smell some. And it keeps the dog from getting in the flower bed trying to figure out what that smell is. So that's something you may want to do if you are putting out your fertilizer in a dry time of the year for you, and you don't have any rain expected in the near future for forecast. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're going to pot up our potatoes. A couple of things is, one is I thought that I had until the middle of March, so the middle of February to the middle of March, for our zone 8B in Georgia to get these in the ground, or in our case in these grow containers. But I've also read that by the end of February, in that case, we're a little bit behind. So we're just gonna, you know, like I said, this is new for me, so I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. So the things that you'll need is a bigger grow bag. So I think these are 15 gallons. This one is 7. I bought this one first thinking it would be big enough, but everybody that I saw doing it on YouTube were using a little bit bigger containers. So hopefully these 15-gallon ones will work. I have my seed potatoes that I got from a local garden center. These are the Yukon Gold seed potatoes. I have a little bit of garden tone that I'm going to put down in the bag. So this is the Fox Farm Ocean Forest that I'm going to use, and what we're going to do is we're going to put our potting mix down in the bottom of the bag. Then we're going to put in our seed potatoes, and then we're going to put in more of our potting mix We're gonna put in our fertilizer, and then as the potatoes start to grow, we'll hill them in by adding more and more soil over the top of it. And at the very top, whenever the leaves start to emerge, we'll do a layer of straw. Of course, we're not doing that part today, but that's the process and the materials that you'll need if you're wanting to do these at your home. So we're just gonna start by putting the bottom layer of soil in the bottom of these grow bags. These are great because they drain. I've seen some people use 5-gallon buckets, which if you've followed me for very long, you know that I love some 5-gallon buckets for gardening projects. But I decided to do these grow bags, use them because they do drain, and we need that around here because we get a good amount of rain. All right, so that's about 1/2 inch to 1 inch deep in there. And then I'm gonna get out my seed potatoes, and I'm just gonna put 2 in this size bag. And what I'm gonna do is, this is your eyes for your potato. And what you can do is, if there's more than one set of eyes, you can cut your potato, let them set out on the counter for a week or so and get a hard film on it. But I'm not going to do that because I'm kind of pressed for time, and I only have one eye on most of these. I've already checked them. So I'm just going to nestle them kind of down in our bag. And I'm going to put one more. I'm going to do a small one. There we go. And again, there's just one set of eye. And you're going to make sure your eyes are facing upward because it's going to grow up facing towards the top. I'm going to actually do that one kind of like this, so it's more towards the top. All right, and then I'm gonna cover those up, and I'm using my hands with the to put the potting soil in, just because the bag's too heavy for me to pick up by myself. So in this way, I'm gonna come about halfway up the bag. All right, and now we're going to add in the fertilizer. And I'm just going to put a little bit on top just to make sure that that fertilizer is getting in there. All right, we'll move on to the next one. All right, so we have our soil in the bottom of these 15-gallon grow bags, and like this potato has 2 eyes, but we're just going to leave it and it'll be fine. Again, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put 3 in these 15-gallon because there's a little bit more room for the potatoes to grow. So I'm going to make just kind of a triangle pattern, making sure all of my eyes again are facing up. And I think one of these, because we have 12, is going to have 4 in the bag. And I think it'll be fine. It's a big potato, so like I said, typically I'd probably cut off all this extra potato because we don't need it. You only need the eye part, but because we're short on time, on the calendar that is, we're just gonna put it in there. Now this one has a lot of eyes, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch that one out, put this little one over here that just has the one set, and stick this one that's got many eyes and this other bag that's got less potatoes in it. All right, so now we're gonna fill it up again. Not fill it up, we're going halfway. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in our fertilizer. Like I said, this is a slow release fertilizer. So as these bags and the soil warms up, it'll release. And ideally we would need a little bit more soil, but we're out. So you need to get a bigger, that was 3 cubic feet. You need more than that to do this project. It's always frustrating when you don't have all the materials on hand when you get started on something, so learn from me. Know that you need more soil than that. But for right now, we're gonna stop so we can run go get some more at the store and finish this up. But for y'all, this is all that you need to see, and then we'll check back in and see how they do. Hopefully they'll grow great for us and we'll have lots of potatoes. Well, y'all, but think that about wraps it up here in Georgia, Zone 8B. We have been out here for about 5-6 hours today. It's hot already in the 80s and I am tired. So we have done a lot of things in order to get ready for spring, and I hope that you're fixing to get to get out in your garden and do some gardening as well. If not, please enjoy what we have going on here in Georgia, and hopefully you'll get out there soon. Stay tuned. We're gonna have a video of wrapping up our big spring project where we reconfigure our drip and put in different mulch. And we have a lot of things happening here coming up soon in 2026 gardening. So I hope y'all stick around. Be sure to like and subscribe. See y'all real soon.